Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones.
Hey, Dale, what's happened? Oh, we're playing that game again.
Yes, well, things look a little different on our screen. We tried putting the buttons down along the bottom, and while that was okay, the buttons were kind of small, and some people were having trouble clicking on them. So we put them over here on the side. I think you'll see, oh, that's what they meant when they said they were flames, because it was a little difficult to tell before when they very little tiny little buttons. But now you can see
Well,
very
not
clearly.
only that, they would get in the way of the timeline there. You'd try to click or touch on where the buttons were, and all of a sudden the little thing where you scroll back and forth on the timeline of the entire video, it would jump to that spot or something. And so it's better to have them up here out of the way.
I would say to some of our viewers, you don't want to feel like you're getting in the way of the timeline, do you? I mean, really. Do you ever have that feeling? Well, generally, Mike and I don't, because we're kind of setting some of the timeline around here. Yeah. And a place that is timeless is over my shoulder. That's Arlington Cemetery. And tonight's show is about dishonoring veterans. This is not a very funny subject to me, and probably not to most of you. And so that you understand what we're doing, if you don't watch our show every day, one piece of advice that Mike would have for you is watch our show every day.
Right, yeah.
But what we have is now, one of the things that we do with this show is we keep you informed. It's a step in the right direction, keeping people informed about what's actually happening, because you're not going to find this, what we cover, in any of the rest of the media. Mike?
Yeah, I'd say generally speaking, there's, the Courier will touch on, certain events that happen in local politics, but generally speaking, they're missing the real core and substance of it. So yeah, we cover that. They don't.
Right. And there are things that have happened, like the Republican Central Committee voting to oppose the levy, which both KJO and the Courier really weren't interested in covering. And finally, the Courier got around to it. I think it was 3 weeks later. But KJO, they never did put out anything on that. Well, that's unfortunate. Neither Mike nor I are Republicans, but they are obviously the biggest political organization in the area, except for the good old boys network, and they didn't want to talk about it. Really, it's not news. Okay, so we're keeping you informed. Now what we're doing is we're introducing you to more participation. Yes, we've been encouraging you to come to meetings and do things, and you're doing that to a certain extent. And we encourage you, if you like the show, to click on like, but not all of you can or will or do or whatever. And so we were very successful starting last Sunday. Many more people responded. It was like 4 times more than I thought it was going to be. And so we've got these buttons on down along the side. Mike, you want to take a shot at what the buttons mean, or shall I tell them?
Oh, you tell them, because they have very specific meanings, and I don't want to mess it up.
They do. Yes, they do. Okay, at 50 degrees centigrade. No, that's nothing having to do with degrees. Okay, this one means as you're watching the video, you can vote. Yay. Okay, so and we'll register the fact that a vote was put in there. We don't know who you are. We're not capturing who we are. We're not going to share who you are with anybody. We're not putting you on a mailing list. You're not suddenly going to be receiving spam, not from us. Okay, and there will be no retaliation because people don't know who you are. Cool.
Maybe people want free spam.
You can combine it together with cherries or cherries and spam.
Listen. Go to Hawaii. There's thousands of recipes for spam.
Yeah, that's
I think I ate more spam the last trip I had over there, because my son lives over there, and so we go to all the local places, and they got spam's big over there. just
Now,
is.
featuring spam. Yeah, well, some of the
Yeah.
people are too, right? This one down here, if you're watching the video and it slightly perturbs you, you click on this one right here, okay? If you're watching the video and you say, I really don't like that, that really kind of upsets me, then you click on the flames that are up about this size. If what you want to say to us or to elected officials is, that really makes me upset, then you click on this one. And this one I think is fairly outrageous. It's fairly self-explanatory. This means that the flames are going up over the button. It means I'm very upset. I'm outraged at what I'm seeing here. And we'll send an email um, uh, representing your opinion, but not you personally, to the proper authority saying, you know what? That's not the right thing to do, you guys. Cut it out. So every Sunday and Wednesday for the foreseeable future. So tonight's topic will be one where I'm going to kick it off. I'm actually on the video because some of the things that you're seeing in the video, I redid the video so that I could explain what's happening, because we did get some feedbacks from people saying I wasn't quite catching on what was happening there, or the nuances of it. So we're going to play back a couple of videos for you, and we picked these specifically so that you could say, what are they doing? No. And so the very first one lays the entire context for this. Yes, it was from a little while ago, and yes, it was talking about not this levy, but the levy before that. But the names have changed to protect the guilty. It's the same old story. Well, we're not pressing for anything when they're absolutely pressing for it. You ready, Mike?
Yes, I am.
Let's play that first video, and you can click as you're watching it if you wish to.
This is Dale Matthews. Here's Lisa Shipley, head of the Veterans Service Office, briefing Simon Hare and Keith Heck about her on-the-clock work time activities, which centered around pushing veterans to vote for the 2013 law enforcement levy and convincing their healthcare providers to spread the county's tax message.
We have 40 to 50 local representatives that we work with that have stakes in anything to do with veterans, healthcare providers, and the VA, and education, and the employment agencies. And so Diane did a really that was a great thing she did, developing a list of other entities that she's working within, and I will do that.
Shipley is reporting to the commissioners that she, representing the Veterans Service Office, have been lobbying hard for the levy.
They put me on the spot and asked, will this, department continue?
Wait, what was that? Shipley says that veterans and their concerned healthcare providers are asking if the Veterans Service Department will continue. You mean because it's somehow linked to the levy? How did that come up?
Veterans have been walking their offices that time of year. I've been passing out your cards, multiple cards daily.
Why would the head of the Veterans Service Office be handing out contact cards for the county commissioners? As Lisa Shipley said, it's that time of year, so anxious veterans were seeking reassurance about the future of their benefits, and they were being told by Shipley that there was a question about the continued operations of the county's Veterans Service Office if the levy did not pass. We know now that Shipley told some veterans flat out that if they didn't vote for the levy, there might not be a place for them to come to collect their benefits from now on. You can imagine how her warning really panicked some of our elderly people on fixed incomes. Shipley also visited hospital wards and retirement homes, spreading the same false story. And she did it on the county's payroll. Now she's reporting her progress to these attentive county commissioners.
Is the board's cards daily. So I just want to let you know that I do inform as politically correctly as I can, being a county employee. I do inform the mass public that there is a levy on the ballot.
Again, Why is the head of the Veteran Service Department informing people that there's a levy on the ballot? Why?
They need to do the research. It is 148 on 1,000, which would equate to, and I'm just giving out public information, which would equate to, what that would mean for the average homeowner. It's very important they do their education. I point them to the website, and I also make the statement that it would be common knowledge that if you support a service, you generally will get the services that you support financially, which is about all I can say on from being the county employee. That being said, I direct them to you. Sure.
Then, as now, the commissioners continued telling everyone that the county had no knowledge of or involvement with the 2013 levy. They say the same thing today. Oh, and Lisa Shipley is about to get a big raise.
Which she, of course, did get.
Yes, she did. So, Mike, what do you think in general about Lisa Shipley informing people about things that are common knowledge?
I think that was a clear, misleading of these people. She's trying to get the people who she has contact with to vote in the way that she wants them to vote, even though it doesn't have anything to do with their funding. And that was pretty clear cut. I mean, even if you didn't have you narrating it, you could listen to what she said and go, oh, so you're telling veterans that if you like the services you're getting, you probably need to support that. And by the way, there's a levy on. No, those are two different things. Don't be confused.
And here's the card for the commissioners.
Here's the card for
to
the
get
commissioners.
more information.
And Simon's going, no, wait a minute. Whoa, you mean his card, not me. Don't bring me into this.
Right,
yes.
Right. She was going around to retirement homes and telling the poor darlings that are there, now listen, we don't want to shut down. I know this because there are some people who were very upset that got in touch with me and others. She's going around and telling them, by the way, we sure don't want to close down the Veteran Service Office, do we? No, we don't. I'm dependent on that. Well, if you don't vote for the levy, there might not be a Veteran Service Office anymore.
Corruption.
That's using your position of public trust to mislead these veterans.
Well, how does somebody who does that, and it's very obvious, I mean, it should have been obvious that those guys there should have at that moment said, hey, whoa, wait just a second here.
Right.
If I'm getting what you're saying correctly, you need to stop doing that right now. How you go from listening to that, digesting it, and even at some point down the line, they had to face what this meant, because you were talking about this in public meetings.
Yes.
So at some point there, they had to go, yeah, that probably wasn't right. And now we really need to deal with this person who clearly violated the law and went and did this sort of thing, which is really unethical to say the very least about it. And then how do you then a couple years later take and give that person a huge pay increase? And I mean, I just don't get it. But
because they couldn't do it at the time. They made it retroactive. They couldn't do it at the time because there was a little bit of fuss about this. You think so? Right. Just coming up out of the ground.
So, I mean, do you think that this is the kind of, I mean, do you think that this is a conscious payback on the part of the commissioners that, hey, we have to throw a few bucks her way? I mean, did they have this conversation somewhere? Hey, we need to take care of Lisa Shipley because, she did our bidding and went out and was, flogging the vote with all these, people in rest homes that know not any better. And, you think that sort of thing took place? Or,
Well,
how does this stuff happen?
You just look at the facts. Here's somebody that should have been, if not fired, immediately. They should have been, as you said, they should have said, well, whoa, what did you just tell me that you were doing? Instead, they're just sitting there drinking it in because I think it's fairly obvious they didn't say anything because they were so shocked. No, because it was doing their bidding.
Yeah, nothing looked out of the ordinary there.
Don't be handing out these cards. What's the matter with you? That's not your job. She had indicated earlier in that meeting that hundreds and hundreds of people come in, and every one of them, she's going to them, say, hey, there's a levy on you, there's a levy on you, hey, you don't want this office to close. Hey, we got your money. You sure want to keep getting this money, don't you? And then she says it to the commissioners who sit there dumbly listening to this, and then she ends up getting a raise. Well, as Simon here says, I can't connect the dots. Can you? If you think that you can, let me just say something.
Yes.
Well, let me say something, Mike. If you think that you can connect the dots, you've got a series of flames over on the side saying, hey, I've connected these dots. I think that this is outrageous. I think that this is not so nice. I'm a little perturbed. I'm slightly upset about this. You can say anything that you want. It's your show. It's our show. It's your show. You can vote and say, would you please pass a message on to them for me? I'm rather outraged by this, Mike.
Okay.
Brother.
No, it's odd to me watching that. It looks as though these guys, there's not even a look of recognition like, wow, you just did something.
No.
And so it makes me wonder, and I guess since Simon here was pointing at Keith Heck, was Keith Heck perhaps her liaison at that time or something? Does this reflect conversations that he had when going over to her office and saying, hey, listen, here's what we're doing. Please help us out on this.
I don't know. They never talked about this.
Right. Of course, you're not
talked about it.
Going to. They're not going to. But clearly, there almost has to be either they don't think this is a big deal or they share in her in the guilt of this situation, and perhaps that's why she got the big pay raise. Who knows?
Wow.
We can only speculate. Well,
yeah, they don't want to talk about it. What do you think about having to speculate about all this? Really, anybody in the audience? Isn't it obvious? Shouldn't somebody be slamming their fist down on the table and say, no, don't do this anymore? Did they tell her to stop doing it?
I don't remember seeing that. No.
They did not tell her to stop doing it, and I go to all the meetings. So what do you think that she did following this meeting when she's getting this reaction from them? Well, I think it's fairly obvious that she continued doing it.
Yeah, probably. Now, let me ask you, this seems like a fairly obvious target for, an OGEC investigation or something like that. Did you take this to them at that time?
I did, and not to the OGEC, because at the moment they were saying they don't deal with. I said, well, what do you do? Do you get involved with government ethics? You're called the Government Ethics Commission. Well, no, not really. So what I did is instead I went to the Secretary of State, their offices, and they just kind of laughed it off. The guy that I got at that moment was a guy that says, well, what do you want to do? Make a big fuss about this? I said, well, yeah. Well, yeah, just send us something. And, if we think that there's a violation, we'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, the reason that we're voting on this kind of stuff, we're not going to get any help. The state's not going to help us. They're not going to send somebody down here to investigate what's going on. They won't even look at the videos we send them. They don't care. Okay, so we're on our own. No, we've always been on our own. Okay, and so we're the rural cousins that marry, or their rural relatives that marry their cousins or cousins
Speak
or
for
own
yourself
cousins.
there, pal.
Yeah, that's who they think that we are. We're on our
Yeah.
own. So to clean up this mess, it's going to be left to us. The governor's not going to march in here and clean anything up. I don't really want her to do that. So it's up to
Yeah.
us. So we can choose more of the same, and you will get more of the same. Then the people who were put in there and put those people in can answer to these guys. I feel strongly about this. Okay, play the next piece of video, please.
Before I do, I just want to let you know, I just got a notification that there is a new candidate in the mix for position 2, just filed today. I just got this notification, and it's Mark Kelsey. Mark Kelsey is the he's the he owns the scanner chat page and a couple others moderating. So I guess we can learn some more about that guy.
I think you will find it very interesting to listen to Mark Kelsey and his viewpoints about a variety of topics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and on to the video.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. Is it really necessary to be so tough on the veteran service officer? Yes. And this is why. This is the videotape, and both of you were there, of Lisa Shipley explaining her role in the 2013 levy. She reported to you that on the county payroll, she was telling veterans that if they didn't vote for the levy, perhaps the Veteran Service Office would close. It's a lie. She was going around to retirement homes and to the hospitals telling the poor old folks there that perhaps their benefits would be more difficult to get if the Veteran Service Office in the courthouse was not open, and that he needed to vote for the levy. She reported to you, and you listened to her very carefully as she explained that when all of those people came in asking questions and concerned about their benefits, that she was routinely handing out your business cards. Now, why would a veteran service officer be handing out business cards for the county commissioners? Because as she pointed out to them, you know, you get what you pay for, and had said bluntly to others, if you don't vote for the levy, you may not have a veteran service office. This is betrayal of the people that laid down their lives for this country. My father was a hero. He was awarded 2 Purple Hearts. He's in Arlington. He would call this FUBAR. And it is. Now, lots of people say, but she's the money person. I like the money person. Of course you do. Who doesn't like the money person? But it's happened with my father when he was in the war, when it turned out that the payroll guy was dipping into their funds. I'm not saying she's doing it. I'm saying she betrayed her trust. He almost died, and it wasn't from enemy action. So, does it create a question? Well, obviously not to you. Because what is her reward for doing this great service to the 2013 levy? By the way, it didn't pass. Did the Veteran Service Office close? Of course not. There's no linkage. This is her reward. A 5-step increase. Not step, 5-tier increase. So the message is that if you toe the line, if you help the commissioners deceive the people about not being involved, then you're going to get a pay raise. It's at our website.
I think you need to be a little bit more clear about that, Dale. What exactly were you talking about?
Wow. They had no reaction. The other people that had no reaction was Keijo. And other people that had no reaction was the Daily Courier. Other people that had no reaction were the local TV stations. Nobody was interested in looking into the story with the levy that was swirling around us at that moment. Nobody wanted to talk about the methods that were being used. by the pro-levy people, including the commissioners, to press for that levy. And how many times do you suppose that it's been that we've heard lectures from Keith Heck explaining how upset he was with people who were trying to draw any connection between the county commissioners who were told about this? They were monitoring this. They were kept informed about this, and the election. How many times have they, as he wagged his finger, well, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be laughing about this, because we've seen the videotape. Not just this one, but others. Mike?
Yep. I don't know what else to say. You know, I was watching that. I thought, you know, that pretty well spelled the whole situation out there. I don't know why this person still works for the county. This is a there has to be some quid pro quo going on here. I mean, again, we have no inside knowledge. We have to speculate.
Well, the only reaction that I got to this whole thing that I said, and to playing back the video, and to people talking about it, because it wasn't going to be in the Courier. Courier's not interested in a story that would be about the kind of tactics that were being used to push another levy on you. He didn't want to talk about that. They had almost daily stories about the need for the levy, but they weren't going to be talking at all about the kind of tactics that were being used, and this cheater abusing her privilege to get a chance to work with veterans. The only response that I got at all was from Cheryl Walker to extol the virtues of what a wonderful employee. Remember when she did this with Larry Graves at the airport? Mm-hmm. What a wonderful employee that Lisa Shipley is. Lisa Shipley. Oh, she's unbeatable. Why? She's the best ever. Well, one of the reasons she's the best ever is make up your own mind. And you can say what your opinion is. And we will see that the commissioners and Lisa Shipley get an email saying, you know, I'm slightly perturbed by this kind of thing. Click on that one if you're slightly perturbed. It's their choice, Mike. Really? Okay.
Right. What's the other one? It was slightly perturbed, and what's the other one there?
Oh well, this is I'm slightly perturbed. I'm very upset. You'll get confirmation of your vote, and we don't know who you are. And this one is I'm very upset, and this one is I'm outraged.
Okay, I'm outraged.
Just look at the level of flame.
I'm on fire.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Really. Is this the kind of government that you want? Is this the kind of denial that you want afterwards, saying, oh, we knew nothing about this. We weren't involved at all. Why? What's the matter with you for saying that I keep remembering him wagging his finger at me. We're not involved with this, and you're chuckling, and that'll be the end of that chuckling, Mr. Matthews. Really? I wasn't the only one chuckling, because he kept insisting that they had nothing to do with it. And it wasn't because people had watched this video. It's because they watched the video of Keith Heck doing the actual kickoff of this whole thing. Well, they can continue telling you and then get Wally Hicks involved. Why, what you just saw on that tape was not on that tape. Okay, if you insist. That's the stand you've taken. Might as well go all the way, Wally. Tell them all that nothing happened, and they can all now go back to sleep. Okay, now Sandy Castanelli weighs in. Big bad Sandy Castanelli comes in, and she hands out a lot of numbers. So here's Sandy Castanelli with the numbers. Oh, one last thing before we see that. You may recall that we brought up a couple of days ago. Listen, I'm at this backroom meeting with the commissioners, and they're talking about the fact that these veterans are sitting out there on these hard seats. They're church pews without the cushions. And they're sitting out there, and they don't know why the door isn't open, because they can hear somebody back there talking, and the time is this, and they're only open 1 day a week. 1 day a week. And these people have hobbled in to ask questions about their veterans benefits. And they're sitting out there, and there's something happening, but there's no indication. And I said to Mike, how would you, if you wouldn't run the place that way to begin with, but how would you handle it to explain in a nonverbal way to the people out in the hallway why this door is locked. And your answer was?
I was sort of thinking about a sign.
Yeah. How about just a piece of paper stuck up there with some gum?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Right. And I guess, this has something to do with HIPAA laws, but you could also put an explanation of that up so that people would understand why they're being kept outside in the outer office or something like that.
With a big picture of a hippopotamus, something like that. Yes.
It just seems so simple to be, courteous to people as it usually is. And so uncommon for, government workers to be courteous to people that seems like par for the course.
Well, Mike Jones is now completely qualified to be a county commissioner because he came up with the idea of sticking a notice on the door. They didn't.
Yes.
I'm sitting there and you want to yell it out in the meeting. Hey, how about putting a note on the door? A sticky note, anything. No, they've been wrangling with this for over a year. I don't know what we can possibly do. What can we do, Mike? I don't know. And Mike is the answer for them all along. Put a notice on the door.
Yeah. You could have one of those signs, where you open the door and you grab the little placard that's on the door and you flip it around. Say, we're busy. We'll get to you shortly. And then you flip it around the other way and say office is closed or something like that. This is not a big deal.
You could take a penknife and carve it in the door. There's plenty of ways to explain that to the folks that are sitting out there.
One way of doing it.
Yes. How about a K-bar? Okay, so now Sandy Casanelli is going to talk a little bit about the rewards program for Lisa Shipley for the wonderful work she's been doing for our veterans.
We hear a lot about the county's financial woes, about how it's at bare bones, hanging by its fingernails and close to the fiscal cliff. Yet today, this board will determine whether to give the Veteran Service Officer a 5-grade pay increase. This would allow Lisa Shipley to start making $25.82 per hour, and with time, she would end up making $34.18. To put this in perspective, at the end of this pay grade, this program manager will be earning about what our elected officials are currently being paid. It wasn't that long ago when we had a veteran service office open 40 hours per week. But several years ago, Lisa said she was swamped with paperwork and needed time to do it when she didn't have to deal with the public. Her request was to work 10 hours per day, 4 days a week. She later revealed that being closed on Fridays would also allow her to spend more time with her family. But when she received help by way of additional personnel in the program, she did not reopen the office to the public on Fridays. From 2007 to the present, the program went from 1.7 FTEs to 3 employees, but the public's access to the department decreased. They're still closed on Fridays, but additionally, they're currently only open for walk-in business on Mondays from 9 to 4 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are accessible to the public by appointment only.
Appointment only.
That hardly seems worth the $166,000 we're paying in personal services for these 3 per year. This year's budget also reveals that $9,000 is allocated for travel and $3,800 is allocated for education and training. Out of total expenditures of $52,000, that's over 24% of their requirements for travel and training. But this program has yet to outreach to some of the World War II veterans in our area. On July 26, 2011, when the Rogue Valley chapter of the American Merchant Marine Veterans had a town hall meeting here in the Ann Basker, Lisa could not attend due to family obligations. And it seemed that even though all this money has been spent on her travels and education, it still has not prompted her to make the 17-mile trip to Gold Hill to talk to these Josephine and Jackson County veterans at one of their meetings. This is pretty shameful, and now you want to give her a 5-grade pay raise? This is why the public is fed up with the current fiscal management of this board. And this is why a public safety will never pass in Josephine County.
Well, look, everybody, it's your government.
Yeah.
And if you think that that's a wonderful thing, why, then they'll do more of the same.
Isn't it amazing that you see people one day a week? And I wonder how many people they see on average that one day a week. So they see people one day a week, and then it takes that day because, you know, I mean, some of these people aren't the ones dealing one-to-one with the veterans. There's probably specified people in there for that. And the rest of the people are doing this paperwork that they're all mired in. And then they have to shut the doors for the rest of the week so that they can finish all the paperwork. $160,000. I would like to know the numbers. How many of these veterans are they doing business with over this time period? How many are they meeting with on a Monday? And, you know, there has to be some obvious, you know, problems with this, as Sandy just stated there.
Well, the additional thing is, I mean, the federal government obviously is involved in this, and I don't believe in the efficiency of the federal government, but this is not the only veteran service outreach program that there is. So there are even beneficial organizations that work for free in the area to try to see that people get their fair share of their money and to go to bat for them. Plus, the federal government has an office about this as well. So, you know, one of the questions one might ask yourself is, well, now, wait a minute. How much duplication of effort is there? And really, you're open one day a week to walk-ins? And they're sitting out there waiting for the door to get open, and you can't open it.
Right. And how did, as Sandy stated, they go from 40 hours a week open 40 hours a week with less employees to now they can only stay open one day a week with twice or three times the employees? How does that work?
Well, it does seem to be at least a question, right?
Yes.
And, you know, you can pose your own questions here if you like, or at least you can say, hey, you know, I have some questions about this. You can state it at any volume that you like. We won't know what volumes, but you can indicate your volume right here. And the other thing is, my understanding is that they also have work-study students that are working there with them to, you know, to get some credits at school. Not necessarily high school, probably a college, but work-study credits.
Oh, so unpaid people as well, on top of that $160,000 payroll.
That's my understanding, yes.
Nice.
So now it used to be that every month, I think it was every month, Lisa Shipley would come to the little back room, and she was always, this is no exaggeration, chortling with joy to be testifying to the commissioners. And she would take, no, chortle, it's the right word.
Yes. No, and you know, listen, Keith Heck, you never should have turned Dale on to the word chortle, okay? Yeah. That was a big mistake.
Well, they should have kept me in the little back room, switching the TV show where we never had problems. Instead, they brought me up front. That was the most lunkhead thing they ever did.
Yes, and listen, you offered them not that long ago the opportunity to put you back in the hole, and they wouldn't take you up on it. That
for
too
free.
Was a dumb move. Yes,
for free.
Yes,
and getting the job done right. And if you ever try to watch the weekly business session, you'll know what I mean. Okay, yes. So she would come in and give them in the little back room a 20-minute presentation. I mean, she was one of those people that goes on and on and on, more than this show, and just won't stop, right? And then as soon as this happened, what an abrupt change. She stopped coming. You know, I think that I could maybe report quarterly. Quarterly? You were taking 20 minutes. Quarterly would mean that would be an hour presentation. No, she doesn't need that anymore. What happened all of a sudden after all those years of 20-minute presentations, 25-minute presentations, 18-and-a-half-minute presentations? Okay. Then suddenly she doesn't need that anymore, and now we just don't see her. They had her scheduled to come in on Thursday. I've got nothing to report. Because Cheryl Walker knows everything that she needs to know about what's happening in the Veteran Service Office. And Cheryl, what's happening? Nothing. Nothing. There's no update.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're going to get a chance to hear. This is the longest segment in this show. Just to set the tone for you, it's the budget meetings, the budgets for this year. And people are coming up from the various departments and they're explaining what their budget is and what they need and what would happen if you cut people out. I mean, you're going to want to know these things in a budget meeting, right? And giving you the lowdown about the money that's necessary to keep them going. Now, I want you to imagine, for example, that the sheriff came in and he decided to play a 7 or 8 minute video where he got a bunch of people together and they were all singing a song, maybe patriotic music in the background, talking about what a wonderful guy the sheriff is, mentioning by name over and over and over. I mean, you would say, what the heck is, first of all, why are you doing this? Second, why is this at a budget meeting? That's crazy. What? Nobody would ever do that. Nobody, even Cheryl Walker wouldn't do that. Put up a video. Cheryl's our one, and that Cheryl. It wouldn't be doing that. Okay. So
well, maybe that's her mistake. You know?
So
I mean, because this is working pretty good for Lisa Shipley here.
Oh yeah, I'm going to ask Mike to keep track either verbally or to himself. How many times Lisa Shipley's name is mentioned in this video played at the, get ready to press these buttons, would you?
I have my Post-it note here and a pen for hash marking.
Okay, and so I'm going to ask you to keep track of how many times they say, Lisa. Do you guys remember? Marsha. Okay. Yeah. Lisa. How many times they mention it? It's the most self-serving video I've ever seen, including my own. Okay, and then
wow,
yeah, really. And then number 2 is how many times they say she or her. She did Lisa Shipley. Wow, right. She's great. Like she's doing this, she's doing that.
So you know wait a minute. Maybe I should have 2 categories here.
No, you only need one.
No. Direct and indirect references.
You only need one. How many times do they say Lisa or she? And there's patriotic music playing in the background. What the heck are you doing?
She's running for president.
And these budget people are listening to this, and I'm sitting there like, I couldn't believe it. What are you doing? Okay, so here we go with the Lisa Shipley Show. Get ready to press these buttons. Here we go.
Whoops, hang on just a cotton picking second.
There we don't go. Here we go.
Hang on. There we go. All right, here we go. I guess we didn't miss anything.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Shipley. I'm with the Josephine County Veteran Service Office.
There's
I'm
one.
Program manager.
Oh, not that.
Thank you for allowing me to share this awesome program with you.
It's an awesome program.
It's awesome. Everything is awesome.
I have a video that I want to show. It just touches the surface of the outcome of what it is we do. It is a 7-minute video, so I'm going to have Chris actually turn this one on because she's going to support me technically here.
Sometimes the process for helping veterans in their transition from either active duty or
this guy works for her
is somewhat confusing. I spent 22 years retired from the Navy, served 3 tours and 2 wars, and have some injuries that needed help. Lisa was able to work through the process and help me understand a little better how the process works. She was able to help me provide the information that I needed for her to be able to support my claim. So she helped me through the disability process. She also helped me understand the GI Bill and the post 9/11 GI Bill, which I'm currently taking advantage of. The benefit of that is one, being able to utilize the educational benefits.
He's one of our employees.
Part of that process is being able to work at a veteran service office, what they call work study. It's a job that I can work very flexible hours. It's a benefit that I'm very grateful to have.
Very, very much, because they helped me through all of the paperwork, and it helped me with the idea of someone to ask questions of. And I think without them, I've been lost. It's getting a place to go to find out the answers and who to go to see and where. Yeah, they have this office because of the lack of knowledge that veterans have on what they earn, how to get help, both mentally and physically. With Lisa's help and others' help, this office, I was directed to where when I had her, I was taught what I had. This is the knowledge that this office gives to veterans. Because when you leave the service, you do not get this knowledge at all. When I came back home from Vietnam, I stayed and wandered around up in the mountains cutting firewood. Lisa stepped up, volunteered to fill the spot. Embassy had done excellent. We're able to live a decent life, both mentally and physically, not worrying too much about income. Because of her, this office, it has put my wife through 6 years of college, which I would not have been able to do if I didn't have the knowledge that Lisa said yes, she can go to school, she can, and this December she graduates after 6+ years. This office has allowed me to get mental health and not worry about money. But that's why this is so important.
Well, I'm a retired master sergeant, and I was badly injured in Vietnam, not in combat, just an injury associated with my activation in military police. As a result of that, after years went by, I had a serious problem with walking. I had an operation that was supported by the director's office. Lisa, I couldn't walk. Lisa would come to the house in the city, and it gave me support that I needed. I realized that the support also is due to the county commissioners here and the county services in this office. And I appreciate their help immensely with establishing this office and taking a rundown office building out in the other side of town into a suitable professional setting that it is today. The expansion has helped service many veterans in this area. Ms. Shipley runs a very professional office. I've been able, as a result of this, to continue many of my pastimes. My favorite is fishing before I probably not long professional. Again, thanks to this office, I've regained the balance, so to speak. I can maintain my own home and in the city and do the activities that are necessary. So again, I thank you very much for your assistance, and I recognize the need for all veterans in this area to have a place where they can get financial and professional help that really provides them the care that they need and the care that they earn.
My husband was a Marine Corps in Vietnam. He went over from high school into the service. And in Vietnam, he was from Iraq. He came out of the service, and I met him. We were married for 26 years. Well, into the early part of our marriage. He had a very bad heart attack. He almost died. He was 35 years to live. He lived 16 years. When he passed away, I went from an income of $4,000 down to $1,000. My house payment was $900, so I had very little to live on. I was very, very poor. I was advised to come down to the veterans office and talk to Lisa. And she's very, very sweet, very kind, very knowledgeable. This office is very neat and it's a good place to go. We talked for a while, filled out some forms, we sent them in, and they went back, found out that now that not been getting the amount of disability he was entitled to. He was supposed to have gotten 100% disability because of his heart condition being known. So they went all the way back to when Al was first hurt and first had a heart condition. All those years that he did not get 100% disability, they gave me his disability for all those years after he had passed away. And because of this office and Lisa and all the people down here that work so hard for us, I got a phone call from my banker on Monday morning, and they asked me, did you find out anything from your checking account over the weekend? And I said, no. And they said, well, you better check it because there's an addition of $175,000 that has been entered into your checking account because of the veterans. God bless the veterans.
I have one question for you. Are you ready to join the ranks of the world's greatest airmen?
Budget committee meeting.
I would just like to say that Lisa is known throughout the state as being right up there at the top of the veteran service officers. So we are very fortunate to have Lisa here.
Well, thank you. But yeah, it's so not about me. It's about my team. If I didn't have my team, I would not be able to be at the top. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Here. Let's see here.
It's so not about me, Mike.
I got about 16 references that I caught, and the audio is not very good in there, so there may well have been more. I didn't hear whether Ray Charles referred to her or not in the song there at the end. It's hard to listen to that rendition of America the Beautiful without getting some chills there. But
yes. Oh, and helping these veterans is a wonderful thing. Not only do they help you with making sure you're getting your money, they also tell you how to vote.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it eliminates all the confusion.
We shouldn't be laughing about this. Now, look, you've got a way to say what you feel about this kind of thing. Why, I think it's wonderful that on the county's payroll that we have the veteran service officer explaining to these folks how they should vote during office hours and handing out cards and encouraging people to do it, or your office, this office that you're getting your money from, it may close, you know. And I visited here at this old folks home, at the Senior Citizens Retirement and Fund Center to explain to you that you had better vote for this, or you may not have any place to go from now on. Oh, say it's not so. Well, you know, you get what you pay for. These are your options. If you're very upset, you can click on this one. If you're a little bit upset, you can click on that one, or anywhere in between. Anywhere. There's two other options. Yes. So we're giving you the chance to give a little anonymous feedback. No fear of retaliation. No Ray Charles showing up at your front door.
Well, that'd be scary at this point.
It really would be. So we want to thank you for watching this, and we want to blame the Courier for not even looking into this story. They don't care. They just wanted to see the levy was also passed. So there was nothing that we could do to try to convince the Courier that there's bad things that are happening and pressing for this. They didn't care. They didn't want to look into it. They didn't even want to look at the videos. So we stood up at the weekly business session and we talked about it. And now you've gotten a chance to see for yourself. You can decide what kind of government you want and your opinion of the best way to honor our veterans. It's up to you. Mike?
It's up to me?
Yes, it's all up to you now, Mike.
Okay, well, here's your choices over here. Yeah, there's mildly perturbed, slightly more than mildly perturbed, simmering or a low boil, and this would be the pot runneth over.
That's correct. Okay, so thank you for your participation. We will see that they get a little feedback from you. Have a nice rest of your day. See you on Sunday.